guys, how are you? I'm doing okay. I just had a scare with my audio recorder. Wait a second, I'll get into that in a moment. This is Tea Time with Tiffany number 102. So we've passed our milestone. I'm feeling all rejuvenated with the ideas that I had for the podcast and the blog, and I'm really feeling happy with the way the summer is going. But all right, so my audio recorder, I went to pull it out, for the audio recording version of the podcast, and it wouldn't turn on. And of course, I'm just hoping that I forgot to turn it off last week because the battery was fairly new. And so I thought, well, maybe I forgot to turn it off last week and then the battery has run dead over the course of the week. And I really did not feel like running out to the little store that is here on campus for batteries. But I did because I was worried. When I shook it, it seemed like something was loose. I heard like a little rattling. And I thought, it is over 2 years old. And so I thought, I hope that it's not broken, because even this little tiny guy that I have, it's fairly expensive to replace it. And if I have to replace it, I'd rather get something that's nicer, upgrade a little bit. And I just really can't do that right now this summer. And so I was concerned. I ran to the CVS, I came back with batteries, and she's fine. So we'll make it. I'm thinking maybe Christmas time, I'm going to look to upgrade my audio equipment. So we'll see. That'll be, maybe Santa will bring me one. We can hope for that. So I'm relieved about the audio recorder. All right. So we've got some stuff to talk about in books and crafts and July novenas. And I also just wanted to talk to you about what's going on in my week. So let's get started. So this week, my kids are on summer vacation. They haven't been for that long. We talked about that before. We finish in late June here in New York. And so they've been spending some time with my in-laws, their grandparents, while Mike is teaching and I'm working, and they've been enjoying that very much. They went to an amusement park yesterday, and I'm one of these people. I think this means I'm getting old, friends. This is very unfortunate. But when I was a kid, when I was Henry's age, I loved amusement parks. I loved roller coasters. I wasn't afraid to go on anything. I would go on anything, and I did. And I'm glad that I did that at that part of my life. Continued on into my teenage years and well into my 20s. Now, I am terrified of amusement parks. Rides make me ill. I just can't enjoy them anymore. There's a lot of them that just make me feel nauseous. Certain roller coasters it's like I feel all achy when I get off. I don't know if it's just me or if it's just a general thing amongst the population that your body just doesn't relax into it as much as when you're a kid and you're just, I don't know, more flexible and just more able to adapt to the twists and turns and quick movements of the ride. It just doesn't hurt your body then as it does now. And plus, I'm afraid. I'm so afraid of those big roller coasters and of my kids going on them. But this is something that I learned, a very important lesson I learned from my mom. My mom never liked roller coasters. I remember her always saying that. And when we were kids, she was afraid of them, and she was afraid for us to go on them. But as long as we were tall enough, obviously, she always let us go. And she's like, I just can't watch, but I understand that this is my problem. You should go and enjoy the ride. And so that's what I adopt with my kids, but it's a struggle. So they went with their grandparents and they had a wonderful time. Anne is still too short for many of the bigger rides, but there's plenty for her to go on, obviously. And Henry is tall enough to go on everything. And so he went on a bunch of scary roller coasters and loved it. And so I'm glad they had a really, really good time. I so wish I could recapture the magic of being able to enjoy rides like that again, but I'm afraid that ship has sailed. So that's where I'm at. They're enjoying their summer. They're enjoying being off, and we're trying to keep them busy and active, and not just, of course you should relax. Don't get me wrong in the summer, but we don't want them sitting around the house all day, I guess. We want them out and doing things, playing. And so Anna's taking swim lessons this summer. She still can't quite swim without a flotation device, and we want her to reach that milestone. But yeah, they've been outside a lot, which is good. And it's been a lovely summer so far. For me, I wrote this week about dancing. I had a good time last weekend, our first troupe performance of the festival season. It went, I think, pretty well. We just had some issues with wind, and when you're a Middle Eastern dancer, one of the props that you dance with sometimes is a veil. And we brought our silk veils just because that's usually what we use, and rather than chiffon. And they are just light as a feather, and so when there's wind, they are very difficult to manage. So we had that going on. The pictures were a little rough with regard to the veil piece because they were everywhere they weren't supposed to be. But besides that, I think it went well, and I wrote about the stage and all of that in the post. I'll put a link in the show notes. But we didn't dance on the stage, and it was fine. And I saw a Bollywood group that we know also danced there after us, and they also didn't dance on the stage. So that made me feel better. Like, yeah, it wasn't just us. So that was fun. We're supposed to dance this weekend at an artisans market near the waterfront here, and it's supposed to rain on Saturday, and so I don't know if we're still going to be performing or not. We'll see. We have a pretty ambitious lineup, and veils again near the water. That might also be windy. So we may talk about chiffon on Friday. It helps because they're a little bit heavier. So we'll just kind of see what happens with that. But so that's tentatively the plan. We have even more dances planned because it's a longer slot. So, and then we have a little bit of a break, just rehearsals, obviously, but lots of performances at the end of July. So we'll have a couple of weeks just to practice and rest up. So that's pretty much what's going on with me. It's enjoyable. It's tiring. In June and July, those are our big. Sometimes in August too. I have another restaurant gig tentatively scheduled in August. We'll talk about that later. I get nervous about those, but that's in later August. But in terms of the troupe, it's very much June and July. Those are our big months. Sometimes the first weekend of August, but we don't have anything scheduled that weekend this year. So that's the plan. But the end of July is really, really intense. We have a bunch of stuff all clustered together over multiple days on each weekend. So I will keep you posted on all of the amusing details. But besides that, I've been doing lots of reading. I've been doing lots of knitting. So why don't we talk about those things? So on my bookshelf this week, I am so into Harry Potter. This is so like me. I'm always about, I don't know, anywhere between 5 to 7 years behind the curve at least. So that's, I'm all enthusiastic and into Harry Potter and sorting myself into my house and all this. And, the rest of the population did this in the late 90s or early 2000s. So, but it doesn't matter, right? It's now I have access to the entire series and all the movies, and so I'm just binging, and I'm loving it. So I just finished, literally this morning, The Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the 3rd book. And so I have Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, book 4, on my Kindle already from the Public Library's ebook collection. So I'm all excited to start that later. So I have a link to that on my bookshelf. I'm going to be so that's what I've really been focusing on. So I was reading our Amish. I'm trying to remember who said she was reading the same book. Was it Cindy or Donna? But somebody wrote in that she was reading that same series, and I still love it, but I've just put it aside for now because I'm just trying to read as much Harry Potter as possible, because now me, Mike, and Henry are watching the movies. And so I'm trying to read as much as I can before we watch them. So doing that. And I've also been reading The Well, our summer book club book. So we just posted part 2 yesterday. So I have read 8 chapters, and it has really picked up steam for me. It's really gotten really good. I've really gotten into the character stories. We got a little bit more filled in this week in terms of their backgrounds and sort of their heart and where they're going. And so I've gotten into it. What I've been doing is reading Harry Potter during the week, and I've been reading The Well on the weekends. But The Well has been going so fast for me that I can read it in like 4 chapters. I read in a half an hour probably. So that's been going really, really fast because the action is moving so quickly. So that's been wonderful. So I've been reading that. But also on my bookshelf, I thought I would mention that my very good friend Sam, who also is a Harry Potter fan, she sent me a link to a page, like a reader's advisory. Okay, I'm a librarian. I love this stuff. So if you love the Harry Potter series, you will also love these books. So I have the link that she sent me in the show notes. They're all middle reader YA books. And I love the rediscovery. I mean, this has been going on for a while too, certainly since, I mean, we were talking about this when I was in library school, and it was going on long before that, that the resurgence of middle reader and young adult fiction for adults. I mean, certainly those children of those ages, those are the target audience for those books, but the rediscovery of them by adults, that there's something so touching about that, that you can read books like that and just be sort of transformed in a way back into your creative, just so eager and like a sponge self of when you were 12, 13 years old. I loved reading back then just as much as I do now. And there's just something magical about a new book and being absorbed into the world that you are reading about and becoming just a part of the story in your own way, that it's so escapist to me to read, that you become part of this other story when you read. And when you read YA books and middle readers, it makes you remember your curiosity, and just just how exciting it was to read about and learn about new things when you're that age. And of course, the whole world is just opening up to you at that part of your life. There's so much that you have to learn. And so it's just a really lovely feeling to be transported back to that time, I think, in life. And so much of what is written for that age group is fantasy, because your imagination is just so, it's just at its height at that stage of life. And so it's very lovely to go back and look at those books. And so that is what is on the list that Sam sent along. Of course, Harry Potter being a series that we would put into the fantasy genre. These are all fantasy as well. And there's multiple series on here. Let me just click over to this page. One that caught my eye, it says the Ever After High series. Ages 8 to 12 is, the target. The kids of famous fairy tales are at a boarding high school together, separated by heroes and villains, except some kids, like Raven, I love her name, want to pick their own story and ending, not live a present story. The series is easy to read, magical, and a fun-filled fairy tale mashup. So fascinating. And that's just one of the items that is on here. Other books like Harry Potter. And so take a look if you're interested in more of those types of books. And I know, gosh, again, I have been getting lots of comments, and it's been pretty glorious, but I'm just losing track of who said what, unless I go back and look. It may have been Donna who said, or Cindy again, who said that she really, really enjoys books, a YA middle reader. Fantasy books, so maybe that will pique your interest. All right, so that's the bookshelf. The prayer corner this week, I've been thinking about novenas for July, and one of my very favorite saints has her feast day in July, and that is Saint Kateri Tekakwitha. Her feast day is July 14th, so her novena will begin July 5th. I don't think praymorenovenas.com is going to be sending out the prayers for this one, because they're doing a Saint Maria Goretti novena right now. And so I'm thinking that it might be too close in time. So at least I haven't heard that they're going to. I guess it's possible, but I'm doubtful, because St. Maria Goretti might overlap with this. So I haven't done that yet. I can look at I'm looking at the show notes. I was starting to prepare. I will find the link to the novena prayers for St. Kateri. Pop them in the show notes if you'd like to pray along. We'll start July 5th, which is next Wednesday. So less than a week away. I do have on my chaplets page, I have a link there already. I have all of those chaplets I recorded a couple of years ago, the audio. So if you want to pray along, and there's also a video of each one showing the chaplet in question. So if you wanted to try to find one in a rosary or chaplet shop, you would know kind of what you're looking for and what the bead configuration is like. And so I have those for St. Kateri. I have a video with her chaplet, and there's also audio. So if you want to pray that for her novena, as well as the novena prayer, which is what I'm planning on doing. Her chaplet is called the Sanctuary Indian Rosary. That's its official name. And if you would like to do that, you can download and pray along. I think that would be lovely. So that's what I'm thinking about going into July. I have a Sanctuary rosary, so just when I pray the rosaries in the morning, I just think about Sanctuary praying along with me for my intentions. When I have her on the centerpiece of my rosary, I just love that. I love her because of my dad's background as a Mohawk. I feel very bonded to Sanctuary, so her good stuff coming up. In my Creative Commons for the week, I've been doing lots of knitting and lots of planning for other knitting. I tend to get really creative at this time. For a lot of knitters and crocheters and weavers, the summer is a time where they don't do as much because it's hot and you don't necessarily want wool in your lap when it's really, really hot outside. When the weather starts to get cooler, closer to fall is when everybody, picks up their needles and gets all excited. But I tend to get motivated right in the middle of the summer around July 1st because of Christmas in July, if you will, that I start to think about Christmas crafting because it takes a long time to hand make gifts. And so I start thinking about what I want to make, getting yarn. One of my favorite places to buy yarn online is Knit Picks, and they always have a big summer yarn sale, and it spans most of June and July, so it's going on right now. And so I'll pick up what I need to make gifts for Christmas, as well as any fall accessories that I need for myself or Mike and the kids, and that I don't already have in my stash, because my stash is a little embarrassing. We won't talk too much about that, but I try to use what I have, but I just procure anything that I don't already own. And I get all excited with my planning and everything. And I just placed my my summer sale order. So speaking of Harry Potter, I'm going to make a Hufflepuff scarf for myself for the winter because I'm a Hufflepuff. I sorted myself, and I'm very happy to be a Hufflepuff. It seems to fit very well. We are the friendly, loyal house. So and then what else did I get? Just small things to fill in for the couple gifts I want to make. So. All right. Yes. So I've been feeling all excited about planning all of this out. I've been making a hat for myself using stash yarn based on the hat that Hermione wears in the film Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. The pattern is called Hermione Hearts Run, and it is free if you're a Ravelry member. So I have a link to the pattern. It'll take you to the Ravelry page for it, and it'll ask you if you want to sign up. Of course, you don't have to just look at the picture, but if you want the pattern, just sign up for a free Ravelry account, and then you'll have access to tons of patterns and a whole online community of other knitters, crocheters, and weavers, and it's very lovely on there. I've been participating in a Harry Potter thread in the Knit Pick Lovers board, and it's been super fun. I've been making new friends, and I've just been totally nerding out on all of this Harry Potter knitting stuff. So I'm making this cable and eyelet hat. This is the Hermione Hearts Run hat. And it's really cute. Sport weight yarn. I had some gray in my stash, and so it's not a hard pattern if you know how to do cables. Very easy. So I have a picture in the show notes and a link to the free pattern if you want to join along. So I have not prepared any of the saint features that I had talked about, and it seems to me that I usually use up all of our 20 minutes just talking about my happenings and then books, prayers, and creative stuff. But I'm sure along the way I will pick up a saint feature. I just, it's not going to be a regular thing. So I think it's working. Everything's working pretty well the way that I have it set up right now. And so when the Holy Spirit moves me, I will start including a saint feature. But for now, I think I'm really liking our new structure for tea time, and I hope you are too. So that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you actually it's 4th of July weekend. Man, time is getting away from me. I was going to say last weekend of June, but it's the first weekend of July. So for those of you who live in America, this is 4th of July weekend, although the holiday isn't until next Tuesday. So what are you doing to celebrate? Are you doing picnic? Are you doing fireworks? What are your plans? I'd love to hear about it. If you have something new on your bookshelf, If you're planning on praying a novena in July, whether it be St. Kateri or another one, let us know. If you're working on anything, Christmas in July, a bunch of you have written in with things that you've got works in progress that you want to finish up and they've been lingering for years, just like my works in progress, or new things you want to make for Christmas. I've been loving it. So all of the comments on the past couple of tea times, if you go back through, you'll see everybody's comments and I respond to everybody. So you can be filled in on what's going on with everybody else. So write in and update me on your holiday weekend, and I will look forward to talking to you all next week. We'll have part 3 of the book club, so we'll be reading chapters 9 through 12, and we will have probably a holiday feature of some kind, and of course, tea time next week. So enjoy your time off with family, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.